My name is Whitney. I have Casey on the call as well. She will be moderating. So if you have any questions throughout, go ahead and pop them in the chat at the top. So there should be a chat box or a Q&A too. She'll just kind of keep an eye on both. Little questions she can go ahead and respond to kind of as we go. If it's a bigger question, I'm happy to get to it at the end as well. But ask your questions as they go, so they are fresh in your mind. But yes, my name is Whitney. Very quickly about me, I've been with Salon Scale for the past 5 years. My day-to-day is connecting with salon owners. So whether you're an independent stylist or whether you have a team, my job is to connect with you, kind of show you how Salon Scale works, decide whether it's going to be a right fit, all of our features, and then really heavy on parts plus labor. So exactly kind of what we're talking about today. And this is why I love presenting on this topic, is because I get to see salons come in, even independent stylists come in, learn about this method, switch to this method, and then I get to see their success at the end. So this is why we run this webinar, is because it really is kind of the key to a lot of the issues that salons struggle with today. So on the agenda today, I'm going to teach you a little bit about how this method works and why it works, and we will go from there. Okay, this will be my first and only slide about what actual Salon Scale. So if you're attending this webinar, you might have heard of Salon Scale before. What it is a back bar management app. Salon Scale itself has a place in any modern salon. So you don't have to switch to parts plus labor to be able to implement Salon Scale into your salon. Not every salon that uses Salon Scale does charge parts plus labor. It's certainly not a requirement. Like I said, it will track your inventory. It will, save your formulas. It will give you kind of that client profile, and just kind of give you that data and insights into your cost. And so, I could do an entire webinar on just the features of Salon Scale, but why am I not? Because Salon Scale is a tool that unlocks parts plus labor. And like I said on that first slide, parts plus labor is the key to fixing a lot of these issues that we see salons struggle with today. So the lack of profit really being the key one. Parts plus labor, what we like to say is Salon Scale is a tool, parts plus labor is the method. Those combined fix this issue. So parts plus labor or Salon Scale gives you those costs in real time. Parts plus labor gives you that use to it. Instead of just seeing your waste, seeing your product costs, getting mad, getting frustrated, feeling anxiety, parts plus labor is the way to actually use that insight into your business and those costs to actually fix the issue. So that is why we run this webinar. And again, I'm excited to talk about it. It's one of my favorite subjects. So let's get into it. This slide right here. Where is all of my money? So if you did not know, Salon Scale was actually created by a former commissioned salon owner. So Alicia Austin. And she asked herself this question right there on the left every single month. So she'd have a really high revenue month. Her salon was doing over $1 million in revenue. But after all the bills were paid, she'd be right back down to zero. And she'd ask herself this question every month. And if you know her, you know she had that expletive in there. She was saying that word. But it's something that I meet with salon owners constantly, and that's the issue. I don't understand that. I have a consistent clientele. We have high revenue. I have great stylists, but there is nothing left for me except the actual money that I bring in behind the chair. So salon owners are stuck working actually in the business instead of being able to work on the business. So they're sold this dream of, salon entrepreneurship. You become a business owner, you take out this loan, you take a risk that most of the population will their entire lives be too afraid to take out. You take on this huge amount of debt for the dream, right? This dream of having financial freedom and some flexibility and being able to kind of give back to and train stylists and give back to the industry that you love. But at the end, what are you left with? Stress, debt, and when you go to sell, a lot of times when you finally have enough, and let's say you want to go to sell, it's usually for a negative. You're usually in the hole. You still have that big loan to pay off. And what was it all for? For not much, a lot of stress and debt in years of your life where you didn't get the reward that you deserve to get, again, as somebody who took the risk, trained the team, got up and running the way that other industries can do and have a success at the end. So why is this the case? So this is why Alicia created Salon Scale. Initially, just kind of to give you that insight into your business, kind of the knowing the product costs from there. But 7 years ago, when she created it, she started charging parts plus labor in her salon. She took those product costs, she saw that product cost in real time, and she made sure that that was covered by the time that client walked out. And that changed everything. So again, 7 years ago, this is why we do this webinar today, because that small tweak in your pricing can change absolutely everything without a lot of effort on your part. Because current pricing models are failing hardworking salon owners, kind of what we just touched on. It is, there are other industries out there where you can do that. You can get the loan, you can build the clientele. And if you have consistent clientele, that will equal good profit. It's almost funny. I went to a friend's cabin a few months ago when it was actually warm here in Canada. And there was this massive cabin on the lake, the biggest one by far. You know the one, like every lake has like that cabin. This was that cabin. And my friend's kind of laughing as we were driving by it on the boat. And she said, that guy owns a porta potty business. So you'd never think, right? Like a kind of a blue collar job, and he built a business to where he made that out of selling porta potties or renting porta. I don't know how the porta potty business works, but if you have the dream and you put the time in, it should result to that, right? It should result to a good life and the income you deserve. So why is that not the case? How can you have the clientele be there, but not the profit? And again, that goes back to the way that salons are modeled currently. Whether you're doing allotments, that's the one I see the most. So you're keeping amount of color within that base price and then charging for extra bowls, or strictly time-based. So just, having an hourly rate and then kind of knowing what to charge for your time, or a la carte, which is, kind of having those different prices for different services. How are these all failing? How is that possible? And there's a few reasons. I could honestly spend probably the entire webinar on this slide alone, just really kind of picking each of these apart. But what it comes down to is you have this variable cost, which is the cost of color, and you're trying to fit it into a fixed pricing model. So you're trying to, and meanwhile, this variable cost, and what I mean by that is color looks different for every single client, right? You could have a client come in and they use $10 worth of product. And then you could have a client that comes in like me and uses $100 worth of product. And so there's a $90 discrepancy. Let's say they both get a full highlight. There's a $90 discrepancy in color alone on these two clients. And even if you charge them that extra $90, even if you think you're covering it completely, if you are giving commission on that extra bowl, that extra product, let's say you're giving a 50% commission, you as a salon owner are actually only recuperating $45 of that 90. So there's two big problems. The fact that you're giving commission on it and on product that you had to pay for, and then the fact that oftentimes the extra bowls aren't getting added on. There's way too many ways for all of these methods to fail. It's very gray right now. So again, the extra bowls that even if they get added on, you're giving half of it away to the stylist, but only one person, typically the salon owner, has to repurchase the color. And when you go to do it, that money's not there. And so at the end of the month, again, you have this high revenue month, you pay all the bills, the profit's not there. What do most salon owners do? They blame their stylist for wasting. They think that it's waste. Waste is the reason why the profit isn't matching the revenue, because the stylists are overmixing. That is a small part of it. Yes, absolutely. The waste counts, and that certainly can add up. And waste is really tangible. So I understand kind of why it's thought of to be the big issue. You have a sink full of half bowls, and that's literal money down the drain. And again, products going up continuously and continuously. But here's the thing. So your stylist would have to waste 10 times more than they're currently wasting to equal the damage that one extra bowl that's not being accounted for does. So if on average your stylist wastes $2 for every single client that comes in, But then same client, they don't add on a $20 charge for extra product, which did the most damage to the bottom line, right? The $20. And yet we're so hyper focused on that $2 of waste. Almost. So again, I've been with Salon Skill for the past 5 years. I've talked to thousands and thousands of salon owners. Almost every single time when I start my demo and I say, why are we here today? Kind of what's the biggest issue in the salon? Almost 100% of the time, a commissioned salon owner will say waste is the biggest issue in the salon. But again, that's $2 compared to the 20. And that's if just one bowl doesn't get rang on. And then if it does get added on, you're giving half of it away to the stylist. So if we kind of switch that perspective to really focus in on making sure that every single gram, ounce, drop of color is paid for, not only will you fix your waste issue, but you will create, like, let's just flip this. You will have 10 times more in profit than you would if you just completely eliminated waste. So if you reframe this and you focus on, again, accounting for the product, making sure that if product leaves that tube or bottle, it's paid for by the client by the time that they walk out, you will fix your waste issue and you will have 10 times more in profit than you would if you completely eliminated your waste. Now, all this being said, we do have a waste feature. So you will get waste insights into your business. I will on a demo, I will always kind of make this point that it's a product that is the reason that you're not profiting like you should. Yet still, when I get to my waste feature every single time, the salon owner gets excited. So I will still tell you, we do have a feature that will give you insights into your waste that will help you reduce waste for next time they come in. But again, you probably won't care about it. If you start charging parts plus labor, you probably 4 months from now, you won't care about it because you will have fixed that issue. You will have fixed that profit leak. It's leaking out your back bar and it's not in waste. It's in product not being accounted for. But again, if you're just trying to account for it by adding on this kind of inflated charge for extra bowls, let's say you charge $20 or $25 for extra bowls, they're not going to get added on consistently. So if you just fix that, let's say if you just really honed in on your stylist and we're like, listen, every single time you mix, I'm going to be a hard ass. Every single time you mix, that extra bowl needs to be added on. Why would that still not cover the issue? One, because you're giving 50% commission on it. And two, it puts your stylist in an awkward position, right? If they didn't quote the client for it, $20, let's say it's 2 extra bowls, that's $40 that the client wasn't expecting to pay. And that's a really awkward position for the stylist, which is why it's not getting added on to begin with. They don't want to add on this inflated extra charge, especially with no data of where it actually came from. So again, how do you fix this? Give them the data. Give them the data to stand behind their prices. And how do you do that? By using Salon Skill to get that exact part. That brings me to my point here. Parts plus labor equals price. I think there's some misconceptions about what parts plus labor actually means. The way we teach it, all parts plus labor means is that the product is paid for by the time that client walks out. It does not mean that you have to switch to hourly pricing. Most don't, at least initially. I will say I do love hourly pricing, hourly plus product. I think it's a great way to ensure that your stylist time is always accounted for. But if you're looking for just kind of like a quick win, just start by keeping your price the same. Let's say you charge $200 for a balayage and then add the product cost on top. So instead of hoping that your stylists are adding these $20, $30 bowls on top, the price to the client consists of what you charge for your time, that $200, plus any product used during the service. Now here's the key difference. The product used during the service goes to the salon. Again, this is where salon owners get themselves in trouble because they give commission on the full cost of the service. So all those extra bowls, right? They're inflated, but they don't get added on. And so when you do that, it's like you're paying 1.5 times for every single tube of color. If you're giving commission on the full cost of the service, that's what's eating your profit. Instead, give commission on the time. You can negotiate a commission rate on somebody's time, what they charge for their labor. If you have stylists that say, we want a higher commission rate. Okay, well, that needs to be on time. Your time, your talent, your demand. That's what that's what you can negotiate on. You don't have to repurchase time, right? But the part is solely the responsibility of the salon. You had to purchase it the first time the client came in, and you have to repurchase it for the next client too. If you give commission on that, again, you're paying 1.5 times for every tube of color. That is where a lot of the profit in the current day salon is going. Separate those out the way that other industries already do. So if we look at the way that other industries have set up their pricing models, mechanic is one that always resonates. Look at the way that a mechanic charges. When you go to get a battery installed, you get this bill, right? Or even when you get a quote, they know what the cost of the battery is because they have to purchase it. So they purchase it from their supplier. They likely mark it up and they sell it to you. And then on top of that, they charge you to install it, typically an hourly rate that is also very inflated. But that's their prerogative, right? At least you get a breakdown of exactly where that bill came from today. That is exactly what parts plus labor is. It is a separation of the cost of the product versus your time. And it's more important than ever because I'm going to switch ahead because color doubles in price every 10 years. So you might have noticed, in fact, I hear a lot on calls that nothing has been the same since COVID. So COVID, we had this surge in product costs, right? It's doubled basically in 1 year. Color used to be cheap and you didn't use a lot of it. So when that was the case, it was okay if it was a little bit gray. It was okay. It wasn't that much damage if an extra wool didn't get added on, or it wasn't that much damage to include it in a base price. But now we see color going like this. And so when it's going like this and you have it included in a fixed rate, every time it rises, the salon makes less. And when you're giving commission on it, that's even less. So you as a salon owner are taking these hits for including this increasing cost in there. So again, the way that we fix this is we separate it out, because this problem, what we know is color, it's not going down, right? Like color is never going to go down. Even if we have a huge surge, like with tariffs, or God forbid, like there's another thing like COVID that happens, and we have this huge surge, it will never then go down. Like that's just the new price. If it goes up 50% in 1 year, that's the new price. And it goes on top from that. So again, this is an issue you want to fix right now, because again, 5 years from now, it's going to cost 50% more the way that it's going. And that's best case scenario. So when you keep it in there, again, every time your distributor raises their prices, you as the owner make less. If you separate it out, these numbers won't scare you, because any increase will get passed directly to the client. Again, if we go back to the way that other industries charge, if the price of a battery went up, who would eat that cost? Do we think the mechanic would just make less money? No, right? If the price of a battery went from $100 to $105, we'd be charged $105 as a consumer, right? The other industries protect their bottom line more than their clients' feelings. And the salon industry kind of got that backwards. There's a lot of really highly emotional, intelligent artists in there that care more about the client's feelings than their amount of profit. And so this is a way where you can still care about both. You should care about both. I mean, that makes just the most wonderful people, right? But you can't work for free. You've got to protect your bottom line. And how you do that is with data. How you make sure you have the confidence to know what to charge and protect your bottom line, again, is with data. If you can see those costs in real time and make sure that they're covered, you are going to be able to show that to your client too. Listen, this is exactly what I paid for your service today. So this is the best way to charge, and the most fair way that I can charge you today is you pay exactly what we pay, just like a mechanic. Again, we see that cost right on the bill. And a way I like to kind of explain it to salons that are thinking of switching is this triangle right here. So right in the middle, you have the cost of goods. So that is everything that you had to spend on that client to be able to service them that day. The bulk of that is going to be the product used. So like the color, the lightener, developer, things like that. But you also have things like foils, gloves, extension beads, things that you had to, again, pay for, which salons can track too. And there's only three possibilities for who can pay for this. And typically it's this bottom right here. It's the salon owner absorbing the cost of the color. Occasionally you'll see the salon passing at least some of it onto the stylist in the form of a product deduction. Now, product deductions used to be a lot more commonplace. In some places they're even considered illegal now. And I would say the upside of those is you're at least covering some of the cost of the product. It's not all on the salon owner to absorb that cost. But the downside is it causes a lot of hurt feelings between the stylist and the salon. And again, because there's no data of where it came from, it's just kind of like, well, we're going to take 10% off the top, or we're going to take $10 off the top. But you're not actually showing your stylist what it actually costs. For all they know, it costs $5. And when in reality, it probably costs 15 or 20. So you're not even covering it. And now you have these hurt feelings between the salon and the stylist. So what I like to say is there's three ways that can be paid for: the salon, the stylist, or the client. This is a way where you can take it and pass it, but fairly to the client. You have the data again to say, I am only charging you for the amount of color we use during your service today. That is the fairest way to charge. It's just a way for us to stay on top of inflation, making sure that it's fair amongst the clients rather than having to charge an average for everyone. We have a new tool. It's called Salon Scale. It gives us this price instantly. And this is how we know, again, it's custom to the exact formula that we used on your head today. And next time you come in, we can actually reference this exact formula and charge for next time as well. And I'll talk a little bit more about kind of how to present it to the client at the end here. But what I want to show, and actually, I'm nearing the end. Hi, I'm speeding through this. Good job. Usually I'm slow. But I do want to kind of show a real example of what charging parts plus labor looks like for a salon. And this is a real salon. We pull this data from Salon Scale. Keep in mind, this is only 10 months of data for this particular salon. They're a commission salon. They have 13 stylists behind the chair. I want to focus on this number right in the middle, the color revenue, because this is what I mean if you focus on making sure the product is accounted for by the time that client walks out, you will make 10 times more than you do by just focusing on waste alone. So this salon rang out $130,000 of product in 10 months. Now, I will say too, that most salons will mark their color up. So in Salon Scale, you have the option to add a markup to your product. Most choose to do a 100% markup. The justification behind that is you have to purchase color before you use it, right? It has to sit, whoops, cut that out, Casey. It has to sit on a shelf before it can actually be used. And so when you mark it up 100%, you pay for the color used during the service and you have the money to repurchase that next color too. So when you think of a salon charging on $130,000 worth of product, half of this is profit, straight profit to the salon. And when we think of, again, other industries, when you think of a mechanic buying a battery from their supplier, they are marking it up sometimes up to 400% before they actually sell it to us. One of my favorite lines from our CEO, Alicia, is you should never feel guilty about making money off of every aspect of your business. You are running a business, and don't think for a second that other industries don't feel guilty about doing this. They protect their bottom line at all costs. So if you, like her, before she started Parts Plus Labor, if you struggle, to make an order, a color order, particularly right after you make payroll and you're like, well, we got to wait a few days to build up cash flow before we can afford the next color order, mark it up. Then you're paying for your next color order ahead of time. And that's exactly what the salon does. So $130,000 in 10 months. If that sounds like a good deal, then consider parts plus labor. And keep in mind that this isn't charging every single client an extra $100. It's not just raising your prices. It's not raising, because you can't raise your prices out of a bad pricing model. That's just putting a band-aid on it, right? This is a tweak. This is a tweak that sets it up that one, no matter what color costs, it's paid for by the time that that client walks out. Again, it could double tomorrow, not an issue. If color costs $10 a tube and it goes up to $15 a tube tomorrow, and you're charging parts plus labor, the price of the client would only go up $5. So keep that in mind. It's again, going back to misconceptions, there's this big misconception that it's going to be a huge price increase to the client. It's not. It's just making sure that what was used is paid for, and then making sure that money goes back to the salon to be able to repurchase. Okay, so now I hope at this point you're like, yeah, this makes sense, I'm in. But there might be two things standing in your way. So if you are a commission salon, and side note, okay, if you're an independent stylist listening to this, I want you to know that this is all for you as well. It's a lot, but it's a much easier to switch as an independent stylist. You can charge for your time, whether you're, again, a base price or you do an hourly rate, and charge for product, and you can switch like tomorrow. You don't have to kind of negotiate these commission rates or have a big talk with your team or train your team on it. It's just easier, which is why I spend a little bit more time speaking towards commission salon owners. But it's absolutely for you too. We have a solo plan as well. Okay, so let's talk about what is in it for the stylist. So I'll start here. I had a salon owner one time on a call, and she said, I wish my stylist understood that if I made more money, I could pay them more money. So what is in it for the stylist is a few things. One, obviously, using the system, it's going to save their formulas. They don't have to write it down, things like that. Just kind of bringing technology in and elevating the whole salon. When you bring technology in, it's a cool experience for the client. It gives pride to the stylist and to the salon. You're doing something to, again, elevate that salon experience. But also, it's designed to make a lot more money. When you work for a business that has good cash flow, that has healthy margins, that's an enjoyable place, right? I worked for a company for 6 years, and the entire time that I worked there, we were in the red, and it loomed over us, and it was anxiety, and it's the feeling of having to micromanage, and it's not a good feeling. And then bonuses go away, then your Christmas party gets smaller, it goes away completely, the education, things like that. Versus if you're working for a place that has high cash flow, then you get the education, then you get the bonuses, then you get the presents on your birthday, then you get all those little things, healthcare, things like that, and those kind of the elevated experience for the client too. You want to go to a salon where they have the complimentary things, where they have the snacks, where they have those things where the decor is nice. And when you kind of fix that bottom line issue, you have the cash to do that. And you can also kind of negotiate that commission rate with your stylist too, if you're not including product cost in there. I will say what some salons choose to do as well is if you do have that 100% markup on there, some salons will give this. If you see kind of on the right here, this 50, 40, 10, 50%. So if you have it marked up 100%, so 50% is going to go back to replenishing the product that was used. 40% is going to go to the salon for just a new revenue stream, basically. So for overhead investment. 10%, some salons will give their stylists a 10% retail commission on the actual product itself, so that can actually make more. That's a good incentive to kind of initially get your stylist on board, to have them work towards that. Listen, we all get up and running using this. Everything goes well. We use it 100% of our clients. Things are looking good. I'm going to give you a retail commission on the Salon Scale product too. That is a good way to, again, get them kind of excited to use the system and to be able to make a little bit more money. But two, you're giving them that empowerment of, one, knowing what to charge, making sure that they are not emotionally discounting themselves. Because again, when extra bowls don't get added on, not only are you shorting the salon, but you're shorting yourself as a stylist too. Typically, if you're getting commission on it, it's the way you're paying your stylist for their extra time too. So it's giving them, again, that empowerment to always know what to charge and to always be able to stand behind their prices. And actually, I talked to a salon owner the other day who said, I just want them to blame the app. just blame the app. That's all you have to do. Say, listen, this is the price I'm charging. This is your exact formula here. It's not my fault. It's this app's fault. And do that, because then you don't have to have that, again, tension between salon owner and stylist, or feel like you have to micromanage. You can just kind of rest easy knowing that the product has been paid for. Now, lastly, on to the client. So this is a hill that I will die on, because I would say one thing that at least initially holds most salon owners back is, what will my client say? This all sounds great, but what will my client say? And I'll start here. There's a huge range between what different salons will put on their service menu, or the kind of transparency that they offer up to the client on the way that they price. Some salons on their service menu will have like a huge blurb, like we charge parts plus labor, what that means, what that looks like, what you can expect. This is the average range per, a root retouch. It's usually about $10, $20 extra. Versus other salons that will just keep their service menu exactly the same, and they'll say $200 plus, and the plus is the salon scale charge. So there's not, again, it's up to you the amount of transparency and kind of explaining that you want to do to your clients. But at the end of the day, when you really look at the way that most salons charge now versus what parts plus labor looks like, down to the verbiage that you've used, we charge $20 for extra bowls is always going to be more terrifying to a client than you only pay for the color that was used during your service. We have technology to give us that exact number. Because every time, I just imagine as somebody with a ton of hair, and they go mix up bowls like 6 times, $20, $20, $20, and then you're watching the bowl, right? You want to make sure that they're using every bowl. Did they mix the same that they mixed before? And it's just, again, that goes back to making it gray. And so a lot of these don't get added on. And let's say I'm sitting in your chair and I'm talking about how I'm late on rent this month. Well, then it's going to be super awkward, and you go in to add on 6 $20 extra bowls, right? And so it's really gray versus, again, blame the app. This is the exact amount that was used during your service today. This is all I'm charging you for. Okay, and then, my last little page kind of on everything we've already covered, but what will the client say? What I want you to know too is that we connect you with an account rep. So you are not left to kind of navigate this model on your own. We have account reps after sign up that will give you all of the sample service menus, verbiage to your client, Instagram posts, all of it. Same with introducing your stylist. This is an understandably scary change, but what I can tell you is the reward is worth it for both you and for your team. So it might start with a little bit of pushback, but I want you to focus on the big picture. Because again, color is not getting cheaper. It's only getting more expensive. This problem will get bigger. It will surpass waste. It already has. And this is the fix. I'm telling you right now, this is the fix. And we will help you do it. So you're not alone. We've helped thousands of salon owners. And again, we get to see the results on the other side. If we transition to a bunch of salon owners to parts plus labor and like, this sucks, like we hate it, we want to go back, I would absolutely not be running this webinar. This will fix your issue. And what I hear actually most often is that clients actually said nothing at all. So I think salon owners get really worked up as this anxiety tornado of, I can't possibly tell my clients this. And when you explain it to the way of we charge you for exactly what was used, it's oh, that makes sense. What were you doing before? Charging $20 for extra bowls? Yeah, this makes a lot more sense. This sounds like a more fair way to set up your prices. Okay, now I'm a little bit over, so I have kind of a quick screenshot of what people are saying. Again, we don't pay anybody to say great things about us, but we do appreciate it. So these are just kind of some screenshots of what we have, of what people have said about switching to parts plus labor with Salon Scale. Feel free to take a screenshot of that, or you will get a recording too. So everybody on here is going to get a recording of this, as well as an ebook of how to add $50,000 to your bottom line too. So check out the email that you're going to get after this recording. Again, it has some good stuff in there. But your next steps. So we do actually offer a free 14-day trial. And if you scan this QR code, this will take you to sign up for that. The trial, I will say though, is limited. You only get access to the mobile. You don't get the full reports. You don't get the account rep. You don't get the Bluetooth scale. The trial is an excellent way to play around with Salon Scale and see how you like using the app day to day. If you want to switch to Parts Plus Sabre and you want to do it today, sign up for the real plan. Go to salonscale.com, pick your plan, hit pricing, pick your plan, and then that will connect you with your account rep. We will get you transition to this model in the timeline that suits for you. So if you're like, I don't want to start till the new year, okay. But I recommend, what I've been recommending is start in your busy season, which sounds chaotic. I'm quite certain. Start right before your busy season. One, not only are you going to see the most amount of revenue and profit back, you're capturing every single dollar, but clients are in the mood to spend during the holidays, right? Versus January when everybody is broke. So if you're looking to kind of make this tweak, make it sooner rather than later. Because again, the longer that this goes on, not only are there more money you're losing, but again, you want to do it when you can capture the most from it, which is going to be kind of right up before the holidays. So we have a really, really skilled team that can help you kind of transition to this model. And again, at any timeline that you're comfortable with, they'll help get your team on board. They'll help you with the verbiage to clients so everybody knows what to say. And we will go from there. But yeah, I would say that is the end. I'm 7 minutes over. Let me see here. Any chats? Okay. Volume. Whoops. I hope my volume switched. Sorry about that, Christina. Okay, either way, you'll get a recording. And I too am available for one-on-one demos too. So if you want to connect to speak directly to me, go over again a little bit about how this model works, how it would work in your specific salon, feel free to book in for a demo with me. You can do that right on our website as well. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this was some insight on, again, this model that we've seen over the last 7.5 years that has brought great success to salons. So if this sounds like a fit, let's go from here. So feel free to book in for a direct demo, or again, just head right to our website and get started for either the trial or the real plan. But yeah, again, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.